Welcome back to Mirror of Magnificence. My next guest is Avi Uniglitch. Avi has a Bachelor of Science from Temple University in Business Administration, a former auditor for Price Waterhouse and past president of Ace Computer Center Incorporation. He is also the author of the ebook, Your Personal Computer Driver's License. Known as your tech concierge, Avi is passionate about helping people solve their technology challenges quickly so they are free to continue doing what they do best, so they see results, attain profitability, and enjoy their work. He carefully utilizes his innate listening skills to understand any given challenge and systematically and often through remote access provides global technical room service to fill the needs of his clientele. His concept of making virtual house calls is cited by his clients as invaluable, and many of them say they couldn't live without him on a speed dial. Welcome, Avi.
Carol, thank you. That was a wonderful introduction, and I appreciate the opportunity of being here with you.
Yes, I am too. And before we get started, if you don't mind if I just tell a little testimonial about you personally.
I love my testimonials. Thank you.
I met Avi through a rebranding class with Kelly Keisha. By the way, it's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Kelly.
Happy birthday, Kelly.
And I am not very technical at all. I had a hard time even understanding what cut and paste was. And so finally learned that. And then I also had a flip phone that I had for 111 months. So I'm not good in change. So when you're not technically savvy and you don't like change, and something goes wrong with your computer, right away you need someone to help you. And the first thing that you need to do is you have to find a tech guy, and if you don't know one, you have to call everyone and find out who you could call, and then you need an appointment, correct? So that takes time, and so technically you need someone right then and there, and that's what Avi does. He is right there, you're just a phone call away, and he listens to your problem, because trust me, when he had to deal with me, it was a challenge. But he got my challenges out of the way, and he is just so amazing. And I thank you so much for all your expertise and helping me. And like I said, he's just a phone call away, and he just knows exactly what needs to be done, and the problem is solved right away.
Thank you. I don't have to be here. I think you did a perfect job for me, Carol. That's fabulous. And you're my typical style client. Many people are afraid to contact a technical support person because they don't know what they're going to say. They don't know if the person's going to understand them. They don't know if they're going to understand the person because a lot of times you call someone and they don't really speak well, or they don't understand your challenge. And my key criterion is technology is just a way to get to an answer. Right? So if you have a solution that you're trying to accomplish, technology is one way to get there, but there are other ways. And a lot of times you'll have technical approaches to things that people try to solve, and you don't really need the technology. And yet it's important to be able to listen and understand that. And I get that because of my background. As you said, I have a BS in accounting, so whatever BS is. But the key is having a business sense around your technology is very important. You can't just sit down and fix things without knowing why you're doing it and having an understanding. So
yes, and it is true. A lot of people, they don't get that information out correctly, and so you have to have that little innate ability to catch on.
It's very important, very important. I've been doing this for over 30 years, Carol, so I know, and I started just like you. I didn't know anything, and I had to learn on my own. Luckily, I had a background that allowed me to understand this stuff better than a lot of people do. But the fact was, it's a learning curve, and people have to go through it to get where they need to do. And I've done surveys where people say, I learned this on my own. And it's not necessarily the best way to do it.
And I'm sure you find many clients, as myself, that they need the problem solved right now, yesterday.
Right away. Evenings, weekends, I service both personal clients. I focus on entrepreneurs, people that run their own businesses, either in their home or in offices. And those people need help when they need it. They don't have people on staff they can call to come run to their desk like they do in maybe a bigger corporation. And they need to be able to get help. And normally they can't call people after normal working hours. They just don't, they're not there, or on holidays. I have a passion for this, so I love to help people. Doesn't matter what time. Don't call me in the middle of the night. Not normally, because people respect your time, but I'm available.
Yes, you really are. So I understand that there are techniques that can save a lot of frustration while behind a computer. So tell us what that is.
Well, there's a lot of techniques. I wrote a book that will talk about a little bit of how to get it. But back in the early 2000s, I believed that there needed to be some type of licensing mechanism for people, just like a license that you get for a moving vehicle. You know, they don't do that for computers. You can walk in the store and buy a computer, take it home, and have no clue how to drive it on the super internet highway, right? So I wrote a book called Your Personal Computer Driver's License. And it goes through the steps that people need to follow to have, number one, a basic understanding of security and password protection and all the things that go with it. So having that understanding gives people a clue as to what they should do when they're working on their machines. And if they have that basic knowledge, they're able to do the things that they need to do to respect that, right?
Exactly. So I need to get that ebook myself. Small businesses owners make 7 common mistakes every time they turn on and off the computers. What are they?
They do. And I have published a primer on that people can request. I give that away for free because I think it's important, and that leads into a webinar that I do to help people get more information. But that piece I publish weekly in a blog type post. I work with the Rosie Report. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Just heard about it.
And VTHEROSYREPORT. It's not my website, but it's a very neat website. It was designed for people that want to get good news, not bad news, because our media is really focused on bad news frequently. But the Rosie Report, I have a tech column that I write weekly. And in there, you're going to find, do you have these 7 areas handled? One is a lack of accurate documentation. Most of the time, people type in a password or they buy a computer, they don't remember any of the documentation or they can't find the receipts. And when I go in to help them, I say, how old's your machine? They say, well, I think it's a couple years old, but I'm not sure. Well, do you have a receipt? No. Well, let's check the serial number. And, you know, if it's a common computer manufactured, we can check out warranties and things like that. But documentation is very, very important. People lose information about their email configuration, about their website passwords, and I go into a lot of detail with regard to that. The other area is if you have a business, data access is very important to control. People don't always have a knowledge of who is using their computers. They have employees that have access to their computers, and they don't always protect that. And it's very important to control who has that information. Another area that I'm very stressed or strong on is security with regard to malware, antivirus, firewalling. A lot of people don't keep that information current and don't use the proper software to protect themselves. So that's another area that's very, very important. With regard, and that was the 4th item. I have a 5th item is educating and licensing users. We talked a little bit about that, but if you don't have the proper knowledge, you don't always have a good outcome. And having knowledge about your equipment and knowing what to do, my personal computer driver's license is one of those primers, and a lot of the things that I write about in my blog do that as well. Routine maintenance is another key area.
Oh, I know.
Okay, people neglect that, and
yes.
you know, and a lot of times people will go online and they'll download these freebies, registry cleaners and things, and they just are filled with malware. Malware is malicious software. It's the types of things that get on your computer, either slow it down, create pop-ups, redirects, things of that nature. So that's an area that we don't like to mess with. And lastly, power management, especially in Florida. You guys get a lot of lightning storms. I'm from Philadelphia initially, and I just established a location here in Florida, which I love. But I know that when you have thunderstorms and a lot of heat, it affects power supplies. And power is very important to have. So They're
So
my
it's
tips.
beyond the surge
Yes, a
thing?
battery backup actually will keep a desktop computer on in the event the power goes out long enough for you to gracefully shut it down.
Okay. Well, I know we had a lot we could cover tonight, but
I can talk for hours. You
I know.
that, Cal.
We need to know so much more as well. Okay, real quick, what is the best security software to use to prevent infections? That's a good one.
Well, you know, a lot of the things that I do are using layered approaches. And I'd like to refer people to my website so that they understand that all the information I talked about so far this evening, as well as the future stuff, people can sign up and get my Silver Platter newsletter and be able to find my personal computer driver's license through my boutique section. So that's askavie.com, askavie.com. And there you'll have links to my Facebook page and all that stuff. So they can get that information. And I have my malware cocktail that I talk about and all that neat stuff.
And also they can contact you as far as getting your ebook?
That's right.
That-
In the
that's-
boutique section, you'll see a link for my boutique. It's in the other section. You'll see a big piece, and it's on special now. I
Right.
sold it for $9.95. It's down to $3.95, and I will be revising it because that's the old edition. Anybody that buys it now will be entitled to the free upgrade as soon as it comes out.
Okay, all right. Well, say your name again because I know they're going to want to get that ebook.
Your tech concierge, Avi Uniglicht at www.askavie.com.
Okay.
Thank you, Carol.
And thank you, Avi, so much.
Pleasure.
And thank you for joining in. And remember, mirror your magnificence.